then whatever I say is recorded. There you go. It should be recorded. Like I said, this is really kind of just an initial let's get acquainted kind of thing. I want to give you a bit of an idea of some of my expectations for assignments and for the things that are going to happen. And then, I want to just talk about what I like to see happen in the trip itself. Give you a bit of information because the trip is evolving as I've sent out an email not too long ago, changing from going to Drumheller to going to Dinosaur Provincial Park. So we'll talk about some of those aspects. But first of all, I wanted to talk a bit about my expectations for the assignments. This is a grade 12 geology class. So every one of you in it is taking a grade 12 class. We've done geology before in the past, but the geology we did before in the past was a board approved class. So the people who did geology with us before, and that would have been one of Elisha's siblings, they got a grade that was for a board approved class, but it didn't say geology 12. Your transcripts will say geology 12. And there's not a lot of grade 12 science classes. There's, biology 12, chemistry 12, physics 12, but not a lot of grade 12 science classes. So this is a grade 12 science class. But it's a little different in some senses. You will not be covering everything that I would have normally covered if we didn't have a trip. But you see, you as a group of students that's going on a trip with me, that trip actually counts as some of your time. I'm figuring it counts probably close to a third of your time because you're going to be out there. It's really kind of a major lab experiment. So you're out there actually in the field looking at the volcanoes, looking at the rock layers, looking at the minerals that we have. So there's a number of things that will take up your time. So in reality, for any 4-unit class, you're supposed to put in about 120 hours. Well, if you were to calculate what's required for the pre-learning for this course, it's not going to be 120 hours. So the course counts as part of that, which is good, which is legitimate. So I left out a few of the things, chapters that you would normally have read, like, you're going to just read through the area on the earthquakes. We're not going to talk about it, but the part of the course is that you just read it. So you're going to read it, no tests on it. There's a couple of chapters near the end, if you notice that it says there's no test on it. Because, studying for a test requires a bit of time. So anyhow, that kind of tells you that it's a grade 12 course, and then it's a bit abbreviated. But I think you're going to get much more in this course because you actually get to travel through Washington and Idaho and Montana, and you get to actually spend some time in Yellowstone, which is just the most fabulous park that there is. And then we're going to head north and do some other things. Look at Badlands. That's what's in Dinosaur National Park or Provincial Park. So we'll look at the Badlands. We'll get to walk through there. I digress. Let's go back to my requirements when you submit an assignment. Because it is a grade 12 course, my requirements are that you really thought through the process. So, if you come across a particular term, I want you to explain that term in detail. Give me an idea of what it is. It might mean you may need to do a little bit of research, but to get a 10 out of 10 on a lot of these assignments, then what I'm looking for is that if you could have written it in 5 sentences, you might get an 8. But if you write it in 10 sentences and really explain it like you're trying to teach me the subject, then you get a 10 out of 10. So, like for example, the one lab that you have, and I hope we'll be putting in a couple other kind of lab type things where you got the granite rock. What I want you to look at in that granite rock is I want you to just say, I saw some black specks. I want you to maybe look and say in the internet, say, what do black specks mean? Might mean mica. Why does this rock have, larger crystals and smaller crystals? What does that mean? And I want you to measure the rock. I want you to take pictures of the rock. I want you to really give me some excellent observation. That's the important thing. The goal in any science type of class is to learn to begin to think like a scientist. Scientists think differently. They really observe. They observe the environment that you found the rock in. Now, some of you have just found the rock in your driveway. That wasn't much of an environment. But some of you are going to go out and look in the field, and you're going to find a rock. Tell me, where was it found? What was around it? You know, that sort of thing. But give me details. So that's what I'm looking for a 10 out of 10. Now, most of the time you'll get a pretty high grade, but if you really top grades, so the assignments as well as the labs, then give me as much information as you can. Explain it to me as if you were the teacher. You know, tell me about, you know, what the concept really means in detail. So that's my expectations. And the only reason it is because this is grade 12 course, and I want you to assume that it's going to be a little tougher than, say, Biology 11. Biology 11, I require a little bit less. Biology 12, I require a lot more. That sort of thing. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to let me know your questions. You know, if you're working on an assignment, write me an email or Google. Either way is a good way to get. But if you don't hear right from me on Google Chat, then drop me an email, because that means that I'm not right next to my computer and I can't actually respond to Google Chat. But I will respond to emails. I'm very good at answering emails and making sure that they are graded and taken care of as rapidly as possible. So anyhow, that's first of all the thing I wanted to talk about is the expectations for assignments. You know, wow me with your knowledge whenever you submit assignments. Anybody have any questions on that? No. Okay, now what we're going to do is talk a bit about, you know, some of my other goals for this class. And first of all, I want to say thank you, because you guys have jumped into the class very, very rapidly, and I appreciate that. One of my goals for this class, since we are going on a trip, since we're going to be spending 11 days together, cooped up in various cars and going for lots of hikes, is relationship. So, you know, there is a news forum post, you know, and you don't have to always be talking about a specific thing. Maybe you want to just talk about, hey, I learned something that I really didn't know today. So I want you to begin to communicate like you have been with the couple posts that have been done. Just continue that. I want relationships, because we will get together. Many of you don't know each other. Some of you do, but by the end of the trip, we will know each other very well. And some of the other trips, like Elijah said he's gone on another trip with me, and Abigail, and Peter's actually gone on a hike with me. So, you know, many of you, Talon, you too.
I've been on 3.
Yes, Talon is sticks with me very, very well. You know, you get to know the people in the trip. And so you're going to go on this trip, and some of you will find lifetime friends. Many of you will find lifetime friends, because you'll connect back and forth because of a shared experience, and pretty exciting shared experience. So relationship building is really high on my agenda. I don't want it to take away your time from other classes or from fulfilling this class, but you do need to be working on relationships. That's what I really want. Now, something that I've said before, and I'm going to say it again and again, this class needs to be done by May 15th. So it is somewhat of a synchronous class, meaning you guys are all working on it together, flowing along together like a normal brick and mortar class. A lot of online courses, you can just kind of, you know, finish it early, finish it late. You can always finish this class early, but you can't finish it late. It needs to be done by May 15th. That's when I will issue the final grades for the pre-learning of the class. Now, you still have another grade, because on the trip, you're going to keep a journal. And I'm going to tell you what kind of journal to get, but you're going to write in the journal on you know, 4 or 5 times a day. You're going to write what you see. You're going to write where you went. You're going to write, you know, a lot of information in that journal, because that journal, I'm going to say it then, I'll say it now, is really for you, but I get to grade it. So I want you to record what you experienced, so that, you know, 20 years from now, if you still have that journal, and hopefully you will, you'll pick it up and you'll say, hey, I went on this geology trip and here's what I saw, here's what I experienced. And so the journal will be part of your grade. Also, participation on the trip will be part of your grade. So there's a pre-learning, which is the assignments and the tests. That will be done by May 15th. And then you still have a little bit more to bump your grade up or lower your grade. None of you will lower your grade. It'll all be bumped up. So on the trip. So that's what's happening with the deadline. You do have to be working on it pretty consistently to finish by May 15th. So make sure every week you're doing 2 or 3 assignments, you're reading the material. Now, the online book, I actually like it, but I'm not sure I like an online book. I always like a book that I can actually write in and process, but because we may not be offering this course again, who knows, the online book was the economical source for us. It is a good book. It does cover the material quite well, but read it. Read every section of every chapter. The tests deal with those chapters, but some of it, you know, has a little bit of what you learned before, as well as expectations of pre-knowledge. There's lots of things that you probably have learned over the last few years. So the textbook is there. You can actually print it off if you want. I actually have a printed off copy, but after looking at the online copy, I hardly ever refer back to the printed off copy. I just go to my online copy and say, hey, I know it read something, and there's a little search thing. So if you got a term, you can search up that term and find out what chapter was that term found in, and then go to the chapter and read the material. So that's a benefit of the online class. Okay, the trip has 24 students, and we're at maximum now.
Whoa.
We have 11 females and 13 males, so we're quite evenly divided there. We cannot take any more because we have 4 vehicles. Some of your parents are driving. Mr. Darby's driving, and then Michaela's dad is driving, and I'm letting some of you out because I can't remember. Norma's driving. But anyhow, we've got 4 7-passengers vans going along. So with drivers and extra adults, that at maximum leads us with 28 people, but we do have some adults in there. And then I'm taking along my truck. My truck will hold 2 to 3 people, 2 people semi-comfortable, 3 people a little crowded. It's a big truck, but it's not a big back seat. And I pull along with my truck, I pull a trailer that I own. And the trailer's the cook wagon, and also the carrier. It carries all the food. It carries your bags and stuff like that. We'll talk more about it when we go along. But 24 students, 5 vehicles, 8 adults. We are 1 seat short, and I don't want to fill that seat. So in other words, at 24 students, we're maximum. So that's pretty exciting. The other thing is, like I said, I did change it. There is possibility of change as we go along. But I decided to go to Dinosaur Provincial Park because one of the parents I talked to said she went to that and it was better in Drumheller. So I called Dinosaur Provincial Park. Why is this better? She said basically it's a bigger Badlands, and that's why we're going. We're not going so much for the paleontology, although that's kind of fun to be able to observe a dinosaur bone, especially a dinosaur bone that's actually, you know, being extracted at that point. But it's a pretty big park. And we have signed up and been approved for a 4-hour hike through Dinosaur Provincial Park, and that's a guided hike where they take us and they let us look at hoodoos and other geological formations, weathering, and they actually take us by an active dinosaur excavation site. So we get to do that for 4 hours. Now, while I'm mentioning that, I want to mention you guys look like you're in fantastic shape, but we need you to be in great shape because you will be doing a lot of hiking on the trip. Like there's one hike that I found out in Yellowstone. I've always gone on in Yellowstone. I've always gone up to Mount Washburn. It's closed right now. It may be open by the time we get there, and if it is, we'll probably go to Mount Washburn. Mount Washburn is a trip up a mountain. It's about a 3,000-foot elevation climb and about 8 kilometers. So it's 4 kilometers up, 4 down. So basically, it's pretty steady up. Easily done, but exhausting. But I found another one called Observation Peak, and it's a 10-mile hike. So 10 miles means round trip. That means 16 kilometers. And I want to take us on that. So, you need to be getting in shape, working at walking, carrying at least a small pack. It's not a backpacking exhibition, but it will be a pretty strenuous hike. So we're going to do quite a few hikes while we're on Yellowstone, while we're in Jasper, while we're doing the Dinosaur Provincial Park. So hiking plays a big part of it. So pay attention to your PE, especially your hiking sort of thing. Okay? Okay, things I've already done, which is kind of good, is I booked the hiking trip in Dinosaur Provincial Park. I have booked our camping site at Yellowstone. We'll be staying at a camping site on West Yellowstone. Yellowstone, kind of, if you look at it, inside the park. It's a figure 8. There's a driving thing that really looks like a figure 8. Well, we're on the west side, on the upper part, in the middle of that figure 8, in a campsite called Madison. We stayed there before, and that's where we will take our day trips. Now, I booked us for 5 nights. I was originally going to book us for 4 nights into Yellowstone, but there's the bottom loop, which deals with the glaciers and not the glaciers, it deals with the geysers and the mud pots and all the beautiful things. That's the bottom west side of the loop. And then there's Yellowstone Lake and Hayden Valley. Hayden Valley is a gorgeous valley. I've seen wolves there, which would be Canadian wolves because they transplanted Canadian wolves from Alberta to Yellowstone. I've seen bear there. I've seen definitely moose and bison and lots of elk. So we'll get to see a lot of animals that are there. Then there's the Yellowstone Falls. We'll do a hike down to the Yellowstone Falls, and it's a bit of a climb down and a bit of a climb up. Once again, it's another hike. And we'll do a walk along the ridge there. So we get to experience Yellowstone that way. We'll do a trip up to Mammoth Hot Springs, which is a very unique type of bubbling geyser that leaves lots of sedimentation. And so it looks gorgeous. We'll hike around there a bit, hopefully do Mount Washburn, hopefully do Observation Peak hike. So all of that to say, we're very, very busy in Yellowstone. So we get actually 4 full days in Yellowstone. We arrive on one day, spend 5 nights, leave on one day. So we get 4 full days in Yellowstone. Then we head up north to Alberta. There's a couple of long driving trips. The first day is a long drive. Second day is probably about 7-8 hours. Trip up to Alberta is probably about 8 hours, 8-9 hours. Then we go from Alberta at the dinosaur park to Jasper. That's only about 6. But then it's a long trip home. And I'm actually looking at the possibility of spending a bit of time in Jasper and then driving to Kamloops, spending another night in a hotel so we don't have such a long trip. But I'll be talking to the adults that are driving and kind of hearing what they have to say. So that's some of the things that we will be doing. But I booked the camping in Yellowstone. I can't book Jasper. I can't book Canadian parks until January, February. They don't even open it up for that, even for group sites. So, but we won't have a problem because it's in early June, so we'll have plenty of time to do that. I did mention getting shape because we will take lots of hikes on the trip. And that's kind of basically what I wanted to share a bit today, just so that you kind of have an idea. So why don't you guys talk? What are you looking forward to most about the trip? Just share a couple things and we will close out this session. Don't be afraid to talk. You guys all will like each other eventually.
Oh, yeah. I know quite a few of you guys already.
Why did you decide to take Geology 12 and go on this trip?
Well, the last trip was awesome, and I'm still talking to quite a few of the people. I'm pretty sure that Ricky's Jeff's little sister.
Yep.
Yeah, I still talk to Jeff. And then, yeah, this trip, if it's the same as the last one, it's going to be awesome.
Where'd you guys go last time?
We went down along the Oregon coast to California.
Oh, lucky.
Monterey.
That's dope.
There's a marine biology class.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I might offer one again next year. Who knows? We'll see.
Oh, this chair.
Somebody else want to share?
I'm honestly just excited to get to know some people and stuff. Because when I went to Guatemala, I got to know some great people, and I'm still friends with them and stuff like that. So I hope that happens on this trip too. So, along with studying rocks too, that's going to be great.
As an add-on, yeah.
What?
Go ahead, Ricky.
Oh, nothing. I was just commenting on what Abby said.
By the way, Hannah and Violet, for those who went to Guatemala, are also coming on this trip.
Violet's coming?
Violet's coming.
I didn't see you in the class list, but I guess she's coming, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
I saw Hannah's post on the forum, and I recognized her from the trip. So.
Yeah. Yay.
Who are we missing in this call right now? Is it like 5 people?
Right now we have 14 of us, so we're missing a few. We're missing
10. Okay.
9, but I was told that by a number of people, some are blended and couldn't actually make it. But it's okay. It's being recorded. We'll try to have maybe an evening session where most of us can make it, but probably we'll never make a time where everybody can.
Yeah, that's never gonna work.
You know,
We've tried this.
Even
with like classes of 10, nobody makes it.
Anyhow, I'm excited. I'm excited about these trips. They are amazing adventures. But the thing I'm excited best about is the connections you guys make, the friendships you do. Plus, if there's anything that really drives me is that I am passionate about science. I mean, English is great, and knowing history is good things. I mean, so none of those are bad. But science is every day it's changing. Every day we are learning more about the world around us. You would think that we know everything about physics, but we know very little about physics, really. We are learning, and so science is exciting, and get to go and study the geological features that happened, many, many years ago is exciting because it means it's still happening. It means there's still potential that's happening. Now, that's something I'm going to share and probably should have shared earlier, is that, you know, everything that you read in your book talks about long age Earth. Now, some people are coming from a Christian perspective, and they believe that the Earth is quite young. We are going to respect all beliefs, but you're not going to read about a young age Earth. And actually, if you were to ask me, you know, I think the Earth is old, and I think God is capable of creating it with time as much as He's capable of creating it instantaneously. But we're going to respect each other's opinion. We might have some, you know, discussions back and forth, but it's always going to be civil. It's always going to be, you know, with the idea that, you know, relationships are more important than dogma. And there's nothing scientists can prove about the beginning of the universe. There's nothing that Christians could prove about the beginning of the universe. It's just, you know, we are people who, you know, can share different ideas, but still really care about one another. So that's the concept that will always be focused upon. But if you have an opinion that's different than the book, yeah, post it in the forum, you know, but let's discuss it back and forth without putting anybody down according to our beliefs. Because, you know, if you can't put it in a test tube and test it over and over again, then it can't be proved as law, you know, and we can't put the creation of the world or the beginning of the Big Bang into a test tube. It doesn't happen. So it's a belief system that we all have, and we all have to choose which one we choose to believe. And we're going to respect each other's beliefs. That makes sense?
It does, yes.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else want to share anything before we say the meeting's over? Okay. You're looking in the class. You got till May 15th to finish it. I think that'll be fairly easy for us all. But once again, if you have any questions, that's my job. Okay? We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, guys.
Thanks for the class.